What's going on, guys and gals? Stock Jock here, up $1,662 on the first hour trading. It has been a long time since I've done a video. Things have been busy. Trading has been fine. Just haven't gotten around to doing a video, so I apologize for that. But enough of the chit chat. Let's get into the trading. Alright, so this first trade was CEI. This one was a reverse split stock. This is something that I typically love to play. These low floaters, they love to do reverse splits, and the reason why that is so appealing is because A, the float is really small. In this case, it is 0 shares. No, I'm just kidding. Looks like E-Trade hasn't updated it, but it's a low. I think it was 6 million, maybe 2 million. I can't remember. It's a low float, regardless. It becomes short share restricted, and everybody is interested in playing it to the long side because they can make stupid, crazy moves. So when it opened up, what I was watching for is to see if there was immediate selling to bring it down, and there was none. In fact, buyers started to come in, and I'm thinking, okay, well, this is it. We've got room probably up to $3.50. You know, if I get in at $2, if I get $1.50 out of the move up to this 20-day moving average, totally cool with that. So I get in, I go long, I take 4,000 shares at basically 208. And what happens is it gets up to 210 here, and there's a hidden seller there. And you'll hear myself as well as Ross Cameron both say the exact same thing. He can't hear me, but yeah, we were thinking the same thing. I was in the trade, he wasn't, but it's a hidden seller there. The stock just ended up not going anywhere, and then at that point, I'm just going to stop out. So this is what I'm looking at. I'm using this pre-market candle for the candle under candle as my stop loss. So if it's coming up here and it's going to come all the way back down, that's my stop loss. That's my absolute stop loss. So as it was coming back down, I start hitting the sell button. Sold 2,000 shares here for, I guess that's -7 on this one. And on this one, it's like 18. So, wait a minute, 22 on the second half. So it was a decent loss. I ended up being down over $700 after this trade.
Don't underestimate it. The high is 203 right now. So there's the bell. So MICT,
I'm long CEI,
watching
209.
Right now, just watching it. 9 by 10. It looks like there might be a hidden seller at 10.
It looks like a hidden seller.
There's only 100 shares on the ask, but it's not breaking that level. ADIL back at 75 on the bid. So CEI 96 by 90.
All right, so ADIL, this is the next trade here. This one was awesome. Turned my red day into a green day. This one was on watch pre-market, and you can kind of see why here on the daily chart. So nice pop, retraced, and then later on, I guess on the 19th, it popped up again, retraced. And then Friday, it popped, and you kind of see that there's a nice little wall here. And I'll draw it because, you know, it's not obvious enough. Okay, this area, I'll make it red too. Boom. Boom. Okay. Nice level of resistance. This thing keeps hitting, coming back down, hitting, coming back down, hitting. And, you know, today it could have easily have just come back down. But it didn't. Today it broke it. And everybody's watching this because it's tested it, you know, 1, 2, 3 times. You know, if any kind of move happened today, it could break it and really get going and break like all-time highs here. You know, it's right here. So this is why it was on watch, and it wasn't kind of something I was keeping an eye on. I flipped to it, and I'm like, oh, here we go. We're about to break high a day. So this is what I was looking at on the 1-minute chart here. You know, in the early morning, kind of just sold off, and then out of nowhere, it starts to creep up towards high day right in here. And I'm like, well, there's 2 things going for me. First is just a high day break, right? So just a high day break, people will jump in it for high day. Then the second thing is a whole dollar break. So you have two dominoes. I just call this like points of interest dominoes, right? That it usually when a domino falls, you get a pop. So here's one domino is high day. Second dom. Well, let's just draw it, right? Okay, so we'll give it green for go. All right, so boom, one right there. Boom, one right there. Okay, so the high day is one domino, and then the whole dollar break is another domino. And then the third domino would be the break of this daily level, right? So we'll put that one up there. So that's kind of the target. So what happens is I want to get in for, you know, every time one of these, and I'm calling them dominoes, you know, whatever. These areas get broken, you can expect a pop. So a pop here would lead to this one, which would lead to another pop, which hopefully would hit this one up here, which lead to a bigger pop. So anyway, I jump in as it's curling back up here, and it looks like high day is going to break. And I go, I take 4,000 shares. I get in at 385 average. So I'm getting in like right here. Nice entry, right? Boom. Other people start seeing it. I actually saw it before. There's, I think, 2 chat rooms playing this one. So, you know, and I say chat rooms. That just means, you know, about 4,000 people are looking at this low float stock that I know of. You know, there's obviously other chat rooms that are out there. But this one, 2 chat rooms, you'll hear, you know, Ross talk about it. But there was another one as well. Jason Bond's group also was looking at this one, as I'm sure pretty much everyone was as soon as it hit the scanners. Anyway, jumped in it here as it was breaking high day, hits this domino, pops up, gets to this level right here, and halts on a circuit breaker halt, which is fine. Out of the halt, what I was really looking for was a break of this level, this 430 that we marked way up here, right? Let's do one of these. Okay, so now we have the open up out of the halt. It kind of pops up, breaks this level, right? And that's kind of my key to get another pop. But it's kind of struggling. It's not like it gets close to this 450, like this $0.50. That's another level, right? That's another domino. You'd think that if it could crack that, we can get another boost up higher. But it was kind of slowing down. It was kind of struggling in this area. So I start to slowly exit. I sell in 1,000 share lots. You can kind of see here, 429, 436, 433, 435. Right, all inside the same. Actually, I did it in this candle here. So it did eventually break it, but it was a non-event. It kind of came back down. So it was a really good trade for me. It got me red to green on the day, but quite a bit. I think it was down over 700, and then on this trade I made it all up, and I think it was up about 1,300 after the trade. But again, it's so important. And this is where a lot of new traders, I was about to stop, but I'm going to keep going. This is where a lot of new traders will not take profits, right? They get a great entry. They're up a lot of money, and they're like, oh, I want more. I think it's going to break this 450 level. I think it's going to go to $5. You know, it eventually did. And this is the kind of thing that gets new traders in trouble. But it could have easily just come right back down to $3, like it's done pretty much every single time that it's popped up into this level. So when a stock, when you got to take your profits, right? If you're green on a trade, you know, at least take half. If you're, you know, I'm up like 75 cents on this trade, right? Take half. You know, I took 4,000 shares. Not everyone takes 4,000 shares. If you take 100 shares, take half. Make sure you got some green in your pocket. You didn't make any money until you hit the sell button, and the little number in the top says, you know, today's realized gains, and it's a green number instead of a red number. That's the difference. You've got to pay yourself. There's no I can't remember maybe one time. I don't even think I maybe one time in my entire trading career I hit the absolute top of a move. All right. And this is not one of them, obviously, because it eventually went to, you know, 575 level. All right. But I don't care. I do not care that it went all the way that high. You know, you're saying, "Oh, stock jock, you could have made another $4,000." You know, yeah, I could have, and I could have also lost $4,000 in that trade. So, you know, I made over. It was over a $2,000 trade. You know, if I wasn't red on the day, and I'm totally happy with that. Right? I made, you know, over $2,000 in a trade in 6 minutes. Usually it takes people a month to do, right? So you have to put in perspective. Don't lose perspective. Pay yourself.
Yeah, CHRA only has 63,000 shares of volume.
Long
right now.
ADIL, 386.
ADIL. I'm going to take a starter on ADIL here.
Generum's pumping it now.
ADIL, a daily breakout, and you can see if it breaks
Over
over
430
17, it's going
is
to get
the
halted.
level.
So I'm going to try to add into this halt on ADIL.
Oh, it's going to halt 417.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, I kept the level 2 up, so I was ready to go. So watching here, coming out of the halt.
ADIL shares
So just
open
added
now
for the break over
444 the high.
433.
Alpha Delta India Lima.
And I put out an order. I want to see the break over the $0.50. So I'm looking for a break over in the 40s, over 45. I'm actually going to have my buy button ready to add for a break of 45 here.
Sold a quarter at 429.
Watching, just added for the break over 45. Right now, there's 44. I want to see 45 break.
Sold some more at
Really looking for that
436.
$0.50.
More at 438.
45
All out
is the spot.
435.
Okay, so this next trade is MRIN. I did have one trade before this, which was ADIL. Again, it was a $20 winner. I was trying to go for the 450 break on it. It's just no point going through it. But this one is definitely one of my favorite setups. And MRIN, this is one that's been absolutely going nutso for the past 4 trading days. One thing that is not going to show up in the charts here, you'd have to be watching it, is this stock. This is the 5-minute chart here. The stock reacts very well to the 5-minute play, especially early in the morning. Let me see if I can find one. Here's one right here. So what I mean by that is, you know, if we were trading it this day, we have a pop, we have a pullback. See how these candles are not making a new high in this pop here? I'm just talking about this area right here, not talking about any of this. You know, pop, pullback, candle over candle pop. All right, this candle broke the high of the previous and last pullback candle. Pop, pullback, candle over candle. Okay, this was on the 20th. But that's just one example. The stock does it over and over and over again when the setup is clean. You go back here, pop, pullback, candle over candle. Not really a huge pop here, but it respected it. That's not really the cleanest anyway. But anyway, back to today's trade. So knowing that the stock reacts well to it, I use it as an entry point, as a domino, so to speak. I want to see that level break for a pop. So on the 1-minute chart, I was watching it, and what I noticed and what I told my chat room is the 5-minute level is, let's see, 80 to high at 81. So that would probably be, what's the high here? 1081. All right, so the high is right here of this 5-minute candle. It's right there, and we'll draw it. We'll just do a little doodle right there. All right, that's a terrible doodle. Let me doodle. Okay. That's the high of that candle. What I saw here is it goes, none of these candles are breaking the low of the previous candle until this one, right? So we finally broke we broke the low of a candle, of the previous candle. And what did that do? Well, it dropped, but it came right back up. Okay? So that tells me that there are buyers here. And it didn't really just sell off and just, kind of fall apart. Kind of like maybe, here we have a drop, a relief bounce, and then candle under candle, drop, relief bounce, candle under candle. And even here, this is kind of just telling you, when it went candle under candle right here, it didn't really drop like it did here, right? It kind of held up. So showing like a support level in this area. Relief bounce, candle under candle happened here. It dropped hard but came right back up. Okay, so that's pretty significant. So if I'm trying to play this level, which is the 5-minute domino, right? I'll look for an early entry, and at that point it will be the break. If I'm trying to get in a little early, maybe break of the previous. If we were in this candle right here, I'd say, well, if this candle broke the high of this candle, I'd get in, or if I was inside this candle, if it broke the high of the previous candle, I'd get in just for a little early entry. And that didn't happen, so I wait for this one. If this candle breaks the high of this candle, I'll get in. That sort of thing. That's all I was looking for. It's just a 1-minute candle over candle, and it happened right here. So I get in 1083 or 1073. Sorry, I get in a little early right here. We go candle over candle the 1 minute, which is get a little spike from a candle over candle, which leads to our 5-minute play, right? Now here's the candle. This 1 minute is inside this 5-minute. So we break this. It's 2 dominoes. Boom, boom, right? We get a nice little pop up. This goes from 1082 to 1125. And when I was playing it, it went to 1080s real quick. Kind of just hovered there. As soon as I hit the sell button, what did it do? Ran right over $11. So I made 10 cents or $200 on the trade, but other people made a lot more, which is, whatever. You can't win them all. Why won't this little doodle go away? Go away. You're annoying. Whatever. So it was a good trade. I could have made a lot more money on it, apparently, and I hope some of you did. But good trade. 2 dominoes stacked on top of each other. Got a double the boost, so to speak, and profited well.
Early entry would be over 1075.
Adding at 38 and 46. A little aggressive
the 1-minute
there,
candle over
but
candle.
breaking this level here is critical, the 433 spot. So, there's no resistance until 5. I just don't know if we're going to have the
minute
momentum for it to
73.
make that move.
Ooh,
We'll
big
see.
seller at 75.
But made $3,400 on it, so it's a good trade. It could have been better, but a good trade.
There's the 5-minute. Going for 11. I'm out. Plus 10. Just scalping that little move there. Oh, there's the 11. Oh my gosh.
So this next trade was ADIL again, and I don't typically play what I'm about to do. So all this was a high day break, and I usually don't just jump in a stock for a high day break. Just because it could break it by a penny, it could break it by 50 cents. You never know. Uh, if it breaks it by a penny and starts selling off, then son of a gun. But it's just not a pattern that was, maybe in a market scenario where high day breaks on low floaters was the hot thing to do. Maybe then I'll do it. But it's just not a setup that I would normally take. But in this case, I did take it, and the reason being is because we were coming up. Here's the daily chart on ADIL. We were coming up on all-time highs on this thing. Again, if it broke this level from, the spot on November 30th, it's breaking all-time highs at that point right here. So, and this area was it. The high here is $5. This is over at 5.10. So essentially the same area. Yes, it's a 10 cent. It's already broken. I get that. But it just hasn't really opened up. And I was looking for the opportunity for this thing to just open up and start ripping up a new high, which it did later. As you can see here, it all went to 575. So I get in for the high day break. I get in at basically 510, get a nice little pop, and I sell just for a quick scalp, 5 cents, $100. And it did end up, if I held it a little longer, going to 545, but you know what? My play was just a quick scalp on this. That was my strategy. $100 in 10 seconds. Take that all day long.
If it goes high a day again, there's just like it's like all-time highs, right? Yeah. So the sky is really the limit at that point. Then you're just looking at 50 cent, half, and whole dollar support and resistance lines. I might try the break of 510 if it looks like it's going to go. And at 510, looking for a quick scalp.
There's 510.
Out 515.
513 by 520.
So this next trade, I definitely don't recommend at all for beginning trading. This is a much more advanced, if you even want to call it that, trade. Let's kind of get everything in perspective here. So, where are we? What time frame is this? 10. Okay, my 5-minute chart's all jacked up. I don't know why. That's weird. This has got to be 9:30. Okay, there we go. That makes a lot more sense. So, what I was watching here, and this is the SPY, okay? And I have a little quick trade Netflix thing here. So, the SPY, right, has absolutely been, this is the daily chart. Let me get rid of this real quick. This is the daily chart of the SPY. I mean, we are in an absolute disastrous downturn here in the market. It's way overdone. It's completely self-inflicted, really. The Fed saying that they'll raise rates in 2019 by 2. They just didn't handle the press conference, their minutes well. They didn't, the reason why this is crashing is because the market thinks that the global economy is slowing down, yet the Federal Reserve does not think so, and they're going to raise rates accordingly. So if, worst case scenario, the global economy is slowing down and the Federal Reserve is raising rates, making it harder to do business, that's going to exacerbate the bad things that has to go with a global slowdown, which could lead to a recession, right? Worst case scenario. And the market is reacting like the worst case scenario is 100% going to happen. So anyway, that being said, there's a thing called the Santa Claus Rally. It's like the last 5 or last 7 trading days, and the last 5 trading days of December, and I think the first 2 trading days of January. I think that's what they call the Santa Claus Rally. It's some statistic that, it's a high statistic that it's usually a time that the stock market goes up. So with that in mind, I was looking for the start of that today. Okay, I had a feeling that the SPY, we got a nice pop out of the open, right? And I'm thinking, man, did I miss this thing? And then sure enough, the sellers came in. Here's the 1-minute chart. Just sold, bounce, sold, bounce, sold, bounce, sold harder, and then all the way up here to VWAP. And this is kind of the difference maker. This was kind of signaling to me, because with every time it dropped down, we can do it like this, right? It made these peaks, right? So here's a peak right here, drop down. Here's a peak right here, drop down. This is kind of one, right? But not really a significant one. This is kind of just blah, blah, blah. Made another peak up here, right? So it's making a lower highs is what this is called. So pops up, or first off, it drops, pop, relief bounce, makes a resistance level, drops again, bounces up, makes another resistance level, drops again, bounces up, makes another resistance level, drops again. The difference here on this one that got me intrigued is because it retraced 100%. Like, how do I say this? So when it bounced here, it only bounced a little bit, right? Again, it dropped again, and the bounce here, it didn't reach the previous peak, right? This bounce didn't go, or this bounce right here didn't go all the way back to where it started. No. Okay, same thing with this one. This peak, it got close to this one, but it didn't go all the way back. It dropped again. This bounce, however, not only broke the previous peak, or it went to the previous peak, it broke it. Okay, and it came all the way up to VWAP. This is that teal line. This is the VWAP. So this got me very interested, because I'm telling myself, okay, this is the start of the Santa Claus rally. Here we go. So I was waiting for a pullback because I thought VWAP would be a resistance, and sure enough it was. I wanted to pull back. All right, we got to let me zoom in here even more. Okay, right here. So what candle is this? 1019. Okay, perfect. Here's the pullback. We got a indecision kind of candle here. It didn't make a new low, didn't make a new high. And I'm telling myself, okay, if we go candle over candle, I'm going long, because we're gonna go zoop, little relief or a little pullback, and then boom, we're gonna blow through the VWAP. And it set up even better because it went candle under candle again right here, right? So it dropped here, it didn't break this low, it kind of made a double bottom. So now I have a support level. Oh yes, I could just put a nice little support level right in here. It's touched it 3 times, right here, and right here. So I'm saying, oh man, this is support. We're gonna go candle over candle here, rip. I go long. I'm not playing the SPY at this point. I'm just playing. You could have done this. I played Netflix, right? I just had a quick trade up here. I'm not even looking at Netflix chart. I don't even care what it is, because I know that if the market, this P 500, the Dow, whatever, they're all moving the exact same. That's why I'm just looking at the SPY here. If the market just starts ripping higher, Netflix, Microsoft, Tesla, you name a company, it will go up right now. All the all these trades are done by algorithms right now. They're all going to be buying stocks, and all the stocks are going to go up. That's why I didn't even have to look at the Netflix chart on this one. So as soon as I see the candle under candle hit support level, doesn't do anything, it comes back up and goes candle over candle, I hit the buy button and I go long Netflix. Well, what happens is it goes up. It's a false break. See, it doesn't rip higher. In fact, the very next candle starts dropping again. So my whole strategy was the the pullback and then the candle over candle would lead to a rip, right? I get the candle over candle I was looking for, but the SPY only moves like 10 cents, if that. That's not a rip. So when a stock doesn't do what I thought it was going to do, I get out, I sell my Netflix, and it was the smart move because immediately afterwards, it dropped hard again. Did test this area and held it, and did go higher, but it could have. I mean, you have the SPY could have easily just fallen apart right here, gone low a day, and just completely crap on itself like it did later on, right? I mean, look at this. It's just sold off later on in the day. So I don't trust it, and I'm not willing to hold any play that is not necessarily working in my favor. If something doesn't go according to plan, I get out immediately. And I do that. I should do that, I should say, with all my plays, all my stocks. I usually get burned when I violate my rules or violate my strategy. So made a little money on this. I got in Netflix. You can pull up Netflix here. I guess we should look at the chart that I'm actually playing. Let's go to Netflix. Alright, we'll kind of look at this Netflix chart, see what we're looking at here. Hey, shocker. This looks exactly like the chart we were just looking at, the SPY, right? But this is Netflix. So you can kind of see right here is where I played it. Right, wait, wrong way. 10, 19. Over here. Alright, so candle over candle. I go long, it pops up, doesn't really rip. This is talking about the SPY here. When the SPY sold off right here, you can kind of see Netflix dropped $1. And I'm taking 1,000 shares, right? So I'm not, that's why I'm not trying to hold this thing at all and see what happens, because Netflix can drop $1 like it's nothing, and that's $1,000 in my world. So nice little profit. Sorry for the long explanation. $300.
Decision. This is sort of another squeeze up. I mean, it's tough because you're shorting a stock with a headline that has a relatively low float that's up 24% today, and it might keep going. So let's see what this does here. So I'd probably be ready to get out if it breaks this level. So I'd probably say, well, it is what it is. 50 by 60 right now. High is 64.
Didn't really take off, but the 5-minute is setting up.
It doesn't really make sense.
So here's that same strategy again, and this time it really didn't work for me. I was watching the SPY here, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, we got another pop here. Here's a pullback candle, and now it's gonna go candle over candle, and it's gonna rip right through this VWAP. That's what I'm thinking, right? I'm still looking for the Santa Claus rally. That's the overall picture here. I'm looking for the start of the Santa Claus rally. But it never happened, right? So this was a significant pop, a nice little pullback candle, and I'm looking for candle over candle the SPY. I get that. I hit the buy button on Netflix. It pops up, comes right back down, hovers in here. I get kind of nervous. I end up selling before the market actually tested the VWAP here and started going higher, and it just didn't do what I thought it was going to do. So I was happy to get out. I actually lost over $300 on this trade.
It's trying to go right now.
No, I don't have a hotkey for half of 3,000. I just type in 1,500 shares. So this is where you would sort of expect a false breakout on a 1-minute micro pullback, where it might go to 77 and 78 and then drop back down. If it broke 80, that would. So there's a 12,000 share seller at 74. The low of this pullback is 50. But this would be a good spot to probably set a short stop in the 78 to 80 area.
Can't right now. Spy's trying to hold up. A lot of buyers.
So here we are again, trying to find an entry for the start of the Santa Claus rally, right? It's like, I've got it in my head at this time that it is inevitable that the Santa Claus rally will start. And we had just played through here. The reason why I exited that last one is because the SPY looked like it was going to go candle under candle here. You saw it spike down, and I thought it was going to break here, and I didn't want it to happen. I didn't want that to happen and flush out. So I exited. What happened is it bounced off this level, came up, and then this candle went candle over candle, hit the VWAP. So now we have, 2 times it's come up to the VWAP here. And I'm looking for the break of it, thinking, okay, here we go. I think, where are we at here? What candle is this? 10:28. So, on the 5-minute chart, it's pretty. We have a pop. These 2 candles are pullback candles. Here's candle over candle, right? I can't see any of this, but you can kind of see it's all kind of just setting up for a rally. So I'm still trying to play this freaking Netflix play, and I think that if the stock market can break the VWAP, the SPY can break the VWAP, it'll run. So when I see that it does, when I see that it breaks this level here, I go long Netflix, and what happens is it pops up by 20 cents. That's not a big move, and really no buying comes into it. And I'm watching the ticks. Here it is. I can't see them. Let me pull them up just so you can see what I'm looking at. What time is it? 10:30 ish, somewhere in here. Yeah, 10:28. So the ticks, they hit 750. They're not negative. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, everything's lined up perfectly. Why isn't this running? I don't get it. It just didn't do what I thought it was going to do, so I had to get out, because a lot of times if it doesn't do what I thought it was going to do, the absolute opposite disaster is going to happen, which would mean another VWAP rejection and sell-off. And I kind of got scared, obviously, right here when I saw that happen, the candle under candle, and it could have easily just sold off again. This is a terrible market. So I hit the sell button. I lose $400 on this trade, right? Really bad. I hated it, right? Whatever. I had to play safe. I have to exit. I have to take the loss, because, again, it could have just sold off. This is below the VWAP still. The market is still below the VWAP. That's a bearish sign. I'm just playing for a reversal for the start of this, and it just didn't work out. Had to cut it loose, move on.
Yeah, I
Needs,
did.
SPY needs to break 237.85. It might trigger some buying. There it is. Mm.
So after getting burned on Netflix like 2 times and only having one winner on it, so one winner, two losers on Netflix, I'm like, you know what? Excuse me. You know what? Let's just not play Netflix. Let's just play TVIX, which is the inverse of the SPY. So when the SPY goes up, the TVIX right here goes down. Okay? When you guys see that here. When the SPY goes down, the TVIX goes up. It's just the inverse play of it. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, let me just play it that way. It's a little safer. So what I saw here, 10:33, right in here, is here's that play that I was playing on it. Popped through the VWAP, broke down. Here it again is we got another pop, pullback, and the VWAP is holding. So now, it's saying next candle over candle, we could probably get a move up with some volume. This is a trade that I nailed really hard, but held for a bigger move than what I had, and I left a lot of money on the table. Still made money on it. So what happened is, with the SPY moving up, I shorted the TVIX. So we had a pop, a pullback, candle over candle, the SPY, which just led to this absolute rip. And I'm thinking, Santa Claus rally. All right, it keeps going. It breaks high a day, right? Breaks this level. This 240 level was like my target. And I was thinking, we're gonna break this peak right here, and we're just gonna keep ripping, right? So it absolutely double tops right there. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's no big deal. So let me just kind of show you what the TVIX is doing. Let me pull it up on a different monitor, or a different chart here. So, okay, so here's the TVIX, right? The SPY is going up at this point right here. The TVIX is going down. Same time frame, right? Same time frame. If I could, yes, right there. Okay, so it's just the inverse. So if the SPY goes up, the TVIX goes down. So I'm saying, okay, this is awesome. This is awesome. This is awesome. Okay, we hit a resistance level. No big deal, right? We're going to get a little pullback, and then we're going to go candle over candle and start ripping higher. At this point, this trade right here, this move was $3,000, and you'll see it in my P&L. I think it was 3. I think it was 3. It could have been 2. I can't remember. You'll see it. Regardless, that's a lot of money. I'm thinking, okay, no big deal. This is the Santa Claus rally. We're going to go high a day. We're going to go back to SPY on the 250 level. No big deal. I'm going to make a crap ton of money. I am top ticking this move. So what happens? Why did this not work? So this is, let me get this out of here now. This did not work how I thought it would. So I drew a Fibonacci on this thing, right? So I'm thinking, okay, if I'm looking at it like this, here's the button. This is where the move started, right here. This is the peak of the move. So a normal pullback, the lowest it would go is this level right here. If the move is a super, super strong move, it's going to pull back to the first line and then rip higher. That's going to go pop, pull back to here, and then rip higher. If it's a pretty decent move, it'll pop, pull back to maybe the second line, this 50% level, and then rip higher. If it's just a normal bullish move, it'll pop, it'll pull back to this third line here, and then rip higher. So what I saw was it pulled back to the second line. You kind of see how that lined it up perfectly right here, right? This Fibonacci 50% level. Totally normal. We get a candle over candle finally. So this is all a pullback. This is no candle over candle. This is the first time right here. Let me zoom in a little bit. This is the first time we got candle over candle, and it didn't do anything, right? Normally I want to see volume come in. I want to see this just start ripping higher, going into the stratosphere. It didn't do that, and I should have sold here. This was an area I should have sold in when I saw that it wasn't going to do anything. Especially when it went candle under candle here. I should have definitely sold. I didn't. I was saying, okay, no big deal. I'll let it pull back to this level. Well, from here to here on the SPY, might have been like $800 in the trade I was in. Oops, I drew another thing. Okay. So at this point, I'm like, I'll just hold. I'll let it pull back some more, right? So I let it pull back some more. I'm like, okay, we're hitting this fib level, and this isn't just coincidence that it's pulling back to these nice, Fibonacci levels. This is computers programmed in to buy on these levels. That's why they work out so well. Plenty of algorithms are keyed in to buy at these levels. There's a little buying here. You can kind of see that, right? Just tap that area a little bit, but buying came in. A lot more buying, and I'm telling myself, okay, this is it. If we break down here, we got the candle over candle, didn't do anything. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if it goes candle under candle, which it does, if it looks like it's going to break this level, I'm out of my TVIX trade. Because again, as the SPY is coming down, the TVIX is going up, and I'm short the TVIX at this moment. Kind of a hard concept, I know, especially if you're a new trader. If you're a seasoned trader, you get exactly what I'm doing. Anyway, it breaks this Fibonacci level. So what does that mean? If it breaks the bottom 61.8 level, that means this move is weak. So it broke that. I stop out. I still made close to $400 on the trade, right? But you'll see that when it was up in this level, I was up $3,000. So pretty disappointed. I held out because I thought this again. My mindset is thinking the Santa Claus rally is going to start, and I don't want to miss it. So, yeah, it didn't pan out, and you can kind of see I was right. It broke that Fibonacci level that I was talking about. The bottom rung was here. Tried it again later to test that level, and then just sold off the rest of the day. So it was the proper decision for me to get out where I did and not continue to hold. If I had to do it again, I probably would have sold or covered my TVIX here rather than waiting for it to get to the bottom rung, because I could have always gotten back in, right? So a little foolish by me. Left a lot of money on the table.
That's X-ray Oscar November.
Alright, I've got to cover my TVIX short.
And that's where I ended my morning, up $1,662 on the day. So good trading day for sure. Well, the first hour I finished the day up over 2,000, so really good trading day for me, and it's turning out to be a really good year as well. So if you're interested in my trading style at all, feel free to find me in my free chat room. You can find the link for that in the description of my videos. Other than that, I'll see you guys on the other side of Christmas. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.